Please welcome to the stage Jim from Tank.
Thank you. As Andrew said, I'm the creative director at Tank, and one of the passions I have at work is for branding, brand strategy, corporate branding. I also have a bit of a fetish with a band, which some of you might know, and I thought I wanted to merge the two tonight and talk about everything I learned about branding in 1979. To put it into context, this is me in 1979. Cool haircut, cool jumper, and it's a pretty cool skivvy. And I've got a really innocent look on my face too, before my mother corrupted me by buying me this album. And I don't know why any mother would buy her child an album where four men are dressed like this and their faces are painted and they're in tights and some of their clothing's shining, and yeah, I just don't know. And it was $5.99, it's amazing. Yeah. A few years later, and after many, many listens, I bought this album, Hotter Than Hell, from 1974. The first one you could blame my mum. Everything you see from now on, you could just blame me, I guess. I fell in love with the graphic nature of this. I fell in love with the idea that there was this band called Kiss, and each of the members had their own distinct identities, and they made up Kiss, and therefore they made up the Kiss brand. So I found that really interesting. Well, I find it interesting now. So. First album, Kiss 1973, brand differentiation. I mean, one way to differentiate is come out and launch yourself and look like nothing else. At the time, there were no other bands that were doing this, and that's pretty shocking, I'll tell you. Brand leadership, Alive 1975. I think this is a really cool album cover. So, it's voted the Rolling Stone #2 best live album of all time. Like, you know, that's pretty impressive. And I have 3 copies just in case one gets scratched and one gets stolen because it's so popular. So. Brand design, creativity is so important in creating a brand, and great design is as well. Rock and Roll Over 1975, got a great illustrator involved to design this cover, and I had 3 of them stuck up on my wall. Collaboration, one thing that makes branding great is that it's a collaboration between a great graphic designer, a great illustrator, a great motion graphics person, a great web designer, etc. They all work together to create a great brand. This is a great example of brand collaboration in that some great artists work together to put together this album cover and the inside gatefolds, and the band actually collaborated with New York Philharmonic to do a couple of tracks you never would have thought. Brand essence, one of the core things of branding is to remain true to the core essence of what a brand is. In 1982, Kiss brought on a new member, new makeup, but the essence of the band was still there. And you know, I think this is a really cool album cover too. Don't tell anyone I own this. Another way to build a brand is create brand ambassadors. Your customers must believe in the idea, and you know, a really clever marketing. They created Kiss Army in 1979, and people signed up to it in droves. Brand validation, right? So we all know about testing brand identities, and we take away the rule of taking away the logo. Does it work? You can take away the logo from this image, and you still know who it is. You still know it's Kiss. There's a guy there who's easily recognizable. Making sure brand identities work internationally. This is a German pressing that I got from a record fair years ago. The S's had to change because of the S's in the other albums looking like the SS symbol. That's worth quite a lot. So I tell my wife. You know. Kiss Pinball Machine, you know, stretching a brand, making it work, and making all that stuff work within different mediums, etc. And I did play this once or twice, and continuing 30 years later, this is what their stuff looks like today. Kiss action figures, we all know this. You know, my wife hates these, you know, but I think they look really cool, especially when they're photographed like this. You know. They do, like, they look cool. And just finishing off, I was so inspired by the back of this album. This is the back of Alive 1975. There were these 2 guys there. They had this banner, and I just thought these the two coolest dudes are in this massive stadium and they're holding this banner. And I was so inspired by their ability to draw on this banner that in 1995 I was sitting in the front row of the Rod Laver Arena and I did my own banner and I gave it to Paul Stanley and he held it up. And the entire Rod Laver Arena just blew up and I was sort of screaming at my banner, so it was pretty cool. That's my signature to prove it. So thank you, and some of the words and ideas, there's a great book called The Brand Gap which really is working to bridge the gap between graphic design and branding, and I recommend you reading it. Thank you.
Jim, in 1979 did Kiss tour?
In 1980.
In 1980. Ouch, I remember that. Also, a little known fact about Kiss is they designed their own brand, bastards. Okay, let me introduce